How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Because I'm so sure that the stock market is going to go down, I'm putting my money where my mouth is and putting $1,000 into the TVIX stock. In this video, I'm going to talk about the ways that you can invest in the stock market so that you can profit when the stock market falls. Before I begin, let me just give the disclaimer that my advice here is not financial advice here. It's just for entertainment purposes only. So whatever you hear over here, it's not an endorsement to buy a certain stock or sell a certain stock. This video is also sponsored by Webull. If you guys are interested in getting free shares of stock, it will cost you nothing. This new promotion is going to last all the way to the end of May 31st. Now, there are various ways to profit whenever the stock market falls. One way is to buy into TVIX. This is a volatility ETF. So when there's a lot of volatility, this stock tends to go up. However, this is really a very, very short-term type of stock. If you hold this for a long term, you're most likely going to lose money. You most likely don't want to hold it more than maybe a week or two, but I plan to buy this and hold it for probably 3 months at the most. If it drops by 50% or so, if this virus thing never comes back, if the stock market never falls from this, yes, I'm looking to lose about 50% of my initial principal. Now today is Sunday and I just got this idea and the stock market is not open yet, but I certainly will buy $1,000 of TVIX when the stock market opens on Tuesday. And if you guys are interested in getting proof of this, I'm going to put a picture of it on my Patreon account. Now, since I did not make this buy yet, there are certain criterias which will cause me to step back and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't buy it right now. And that is if on Tuesday, the stock market drops a lot already, and I can't get in before the TVIX ramps up, then I might be a little hesitant to buy into it at that point. If the stock market doesn't move as it has for the past 2 weeks or so, then I will buy into it. Now, to me, this is a very reasonable risk, and this amount is not life-changing or anything, but it's something that is very fun for me. I took a look at all the fun things that you can buy these days. I could spend this same money on a new iPhone SE. I could spend this new money on a new PS5 or something. I can buy a new Apple Watch or something like that. And all these things, when I look at these, I'm like, oh my gosh, more electronic stuff. I have to like fiddle with it. I have to like mess with it or something. But when it comes to investing, I'm like, wow, if I put $1,000 here, it's a lot more fun for me than buying these gadgets and playing with them because I have to invest time into playing with them. But the difference here is that when I invest into this thing, it has a real chance of making a lot of money back. There's a lot of risk, certainly, because you're looking at losing 50% of the principal. But to me, this is a manageable risk because I'm not putting that much money in. I'm only putting $1,000 in, and at most, maybe I'll lose like 60%, right? $600. I'm okay with losing this for the chance that it might actually go all the way up to $1,000. Right now, TVIX is about $151. And I can see that if the stock market plummets a lot, the volatility index will definitely shoot past $1,000. This is roughly a 6-fold increase. Now, I also don't want to lose 50% or a significant amount of what I invested. So this is why I only put a very, very small amount, sort of like a gamble that, you know, if I lose it, it's not going to hurt me that much. And at the same time, I can have a lot of fun with it, watching this index go up and down. Now, there are other options of buying into volatility or whenever the S&P 500 goes down. One example is PSQ. This is sort of like the inverse of QQQ. PSQ is largely non-financial large cap stocks such as Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, things like that. It does have an expense ratio of 0.95%. So this is something that you don't want to hold too long a term, maybe not like more than a year or something, because the longer that you hold it, the more you have to pay into this expense. So these are very useful tools to have to know that, okay, if you're very, very sure that the S&P 500 is going to go down, this is something that you can buy into. Now, why did I not buy into this? Rather, I buy into TVIX because the volatility, I feel like it's going to spike up a lot more than PSQ would actually go up by, because this is relative to how much QQQ would actually go down. Instead, it goes up instead, right? So the volatility is a little different than what the stock market price currently is, because if the stock market goes down and then you get like a brief period of calm, then the volatility index is gonna trickle down a little bit at a time. So betting on TVIX, you're just waiting for that crazy moment where just people freak out. And usually when people freak out, it spikes up a lot. And so you're looking to earn a lot more, like 6x. This is my projection. If this really crazy event happens. And I'm not sure it's gonna happen. This is my gambling, okay? I'm not putting like my entire portfolio in there or not. I'm putting an amount that is manageable for me. Another stock that you can invest in that goes in the opposite direction of the S&P 500 is SPN. This is the direction daily bear 1x. 1x meaning that if the S&P 500 goes down 20%, let's say, then it's going to go up by 20%. During the 2018 correction, SPN went up by about 24%. So this gives you an idea of historically how much it would move up by if the S&P 500 corrects by a certain amount. Now the expense ratio, this is important to remember if you're going to hold on to this for relatively long term, like 6 months or more, is that it's going to be about 0.5%. Now if you're feeling a little bit more risky here, you might want to triple your risk. And this is something that you can do with a lot of these ETF funds, which is SPXU. XPSU is essentially S&P 500 inverse times 3. So if the S&P 500 goes down by 10%, you're looking at this stock going up by 30%. But on the reverse also happens to be true, because if the S&P 500 goes up by, let's say, 10% and goes back to where it used to be at its all-time high, then you're looking at XPXU going down by 30% or so. Now, this is just as dangerous as TVIX. If you hold this long term, for the past 10 years or so, it has an annualized loss of about 42% every single year. So definitely not the thing to hold on to long term. However, if the S&P 500 crashes 50% like I think it might, this stock will definitely do well. Part of my research into the stock market is whenever I go outside, I also take a temperature of the entire economy, at least for the restaurants that are around here, to see how they behave. Are people in the stores? Are they gonna get reinfected or whatnot? So I took a few pictures I'm gonna show you guys over here. I went to an outdoor barbecue area and I see that the barbecue is kind of wrapped up. So this gives me a good feeling. Next door, I see an outdoor mass gathering place and they just kind of tape this off. So this is also a good thing. Also makes me feel a little bit better that, you know, people are not gathering in mass. Keep in mind that I live in Northern California. So people are not exactly like all screaming to say, oh yeah, you should open up the economy or whatnot. I went to a restaurant called Ramenshu, and it had this little sheet over there posting about rules on social distancing. When I read these rules, they sound great. But then every single time I see people in real life, people don't know like the 20 rules that they're trying to follow. And sometimes people just violate these rules. Look over here in this picture. It says 2 customers at most in the store. I guarantee you, if I stay there all day long, I bet you at some point there's gonna be more than 2 customers in there. Check out this bakery. This also makes me feel warm and fuzzy that they wrap each bakery item. When I went to a Safeway, they also put each donut inside a plastic container. However, as you can see in this bakery picture over here, there's like a little door in front. So anybody that comes in, let's say they are an infected person, they still have to open that little door. So when you go and get those things, you might have to, you know, take some precautions whenever you touch any kind of public surface. You can see in the same bakery over here that the sitting area is closed off, so this is good. A hot pot place is also closed off. They don't have takeout, which is something that's very interesting to me. You obviously don't have takeout for hot pot places, you just eat it there. People don't do hot pot takeout, although I think they probably could make like kind of like a meal kit kind of thing for hot pot. This might kind of do well. The thing that concerns me here is that they have to permanently close down because of the way they structured their business. So this hot pot place still has to pay rent. This is something I am concerned about for restaurants in the long term. So this is the way I'm taking a temperature on the economy. When I see certain businesses they have to permanently close down. So this is really bad news for restaurants that are structured this way. And they sort of did not pivot and sort of change things so that people can get takeout, even if they're hot pot places. Burger King over here, there's a sign that says face mask required, and I guarantee you people are standing way too close to each other when they go inside. People are gonna pass by each other. If you walk in through the door and someone wants to, go out, this is what I experienced at Safeway. If someone has somewhere that they want to go, they're not going to wait until you pass by in order to pass by. They're just going to try to sneak by past you, closing the gap of this 6 feet limit over here. Again, you have to touch the door in order to get inside Burger King. So these things might be relatively low risk, right? I look at all this, germaphobe over here. You don't want to touch any surface area. But over the last week or so, I did a little bit more digging on how you actually contract this virus. And basically, in order to contract this virus, you need several things. An enclosed space concentrates the virus load. So if you're in a very small space with a lot of people and someone is infected in there, you're gonna end up breathing that thing in. The intensity of what you take in matters. So if someone sneezes right in front of you and you're right in front of them and you breathe all that in, you're gonna get it. If someone sneezes 10 feet away, you're gonna get a lower dose of it. So, are you gonna get infected or not after you breathe something in when you're really far away? So this is the intensity of the virus droplets, and also you have the duration. So if you go in a very tightly enclosed area with a lot of virus load and you only go in there for like, I don't know, a minute or something, and you took, a couple of breaths, and so this might not actually get you infected because the exposure is so low. It's such a short duration, so it's how enclosed the space is. If there is someone else that's infected, how much of a virus load did you breathe in and the duration of it. So this is kind of like a radiation poisoning type of thing. You need a high amount for a long enough amount, so it's like the accumulated, integrated amount that you take into yourself over a period of time. So in the end, it's about counting how many viruses gets into your system. If you go over a certain number of virus, this is when you get infected. Why am I looking at this? I want to know how easy it is for people to get this virus. So if people are doing this social distancing thing, will it be effective? Can we actually open up doing social distancing just as long as we don't do mass gatherings? Are we going to be able to, flatten the curve? Are we going to be able to just live this way, have the economy open, and we're gonna be okay for the rest of the year like this? So those are my thoughts, and be very careful with investing in TVIX. I am very, very ready to lose like 50%, 60% of my initial principal. That's why I put so little in at $1,000 only. Thanks for watching this video. If you guys are interested in checking out the proof of this, of me buying this $1,000 worth of TVIX, I probably have to buy a little bit more because it's not going to come out in exact round numbers. I'm going to leave the proof on my Patreon account. And as always, don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below, let me know if TVIX is something that you're thinking of, or any of those inverse S&P 500 stocks that I mentioned. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.